Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's damp and cold here in Minnesota again. And I have news for you. Now, I promised you a video last night about Jenelle, but I got a little distracted with everything going on with John Gosselin and the Duggars and Love After Lockup. And, it was just another day at Without a Crystal Ball. Well, we haven't talked about Jenelle in a minute, and I thought no better time than today because Mr. Eason is on Facebook right now, blabbing away about Jenelle. So there's been a lot of speculation about Jenelle returning to Teen Mom 2. If you remember, when Teen Mom 2's reunion film last month, Jenelle was actually in New York and photographed with who? Jeremy Calvert, which actually made Leah extremely upset and caused some angry tweets from Leah. Now, since that meeting, it's been pretty quiet on the front of MTV in regards to whether or not she will be coming back. However, Radar Online reported last week that MTV and Jenelle are still very much in talks about her returning. So this is what Radar reported. A higher up from MTV reached out to Jenelle and mentioned gathering with her. This was in relation to her meeting with them. They continued disclosing to Jenelle that she was still under the agreement and that they needed to converse with her about potentially coming back to the show, so she flew up to New York. So she met with executives at Teen in New York. Sources that I know saw her walking out of the Viacom building. And this could be, her return could be directly correlated to the nosedive that has happened with the ratings. I'm not even lying, you guys. When the season debuted in January of 2019, 1.18 million people tuned in. When season B, or the second part of season 9 debuted in September, only 810,000 people tuned in. That's a pretty significant dip. Last week's ratings were 748,000, and the season's lowest happened at the end of October with only 665,000 tuning in. So this show hasn't really rebounded. It's lost almost 50% of its viewers, and apparently, according to Radar, executives at MTV are desperate to get something going and potentially bring Jenelle back onto the show. Jenelle then further fueled rumors last week by posting this old photo on her Snapchat, which is from 3 years ago, and it was from Unseen Moments Wrapped. And the photo she put on her snaps as a shared memory. Now, immediately, everyone started assuming that this meant that she was coming back to the show. Jenelle responded by insisting that that was not the case, and she tweeted, "The picture posted in my Snapchat yesterday was a throwback pic of my memories when I was pregnant with Ensley. I just thought I looked pretty, so I posted, stop reading into everything so much." Now, many outlets insisted that Jenelle was too smart. She wouldn't just post that photo for no reason. And the fact that it was with Teen Mom 2 is no coincidence. Now, we should note that it may be that, but it's also probable that, for the last 10 years of her life, she has been heavily involved with MTV, so a lot of the throwback photos she has are probably from, where? MTV. When I reached out to Jenelle about it, she told me the exact same thing as what she tweeted, that she just liked the photo and there was no underlying motive. So then Radar Online reported after that Jenelle has still been talking to MTV for a few weeks. They're talking about having her come back to the show, but it's still not confirmed. And then the Ashley reported last week that it's still unlikely that she will return. So what is it? Is she going to return? The Ashley was saying that their producers and people that are working there are fearful of the fact that David could still show up at any point in time because of their separation, and that he could still cause issues with filming. I don't know who you believe. I don't know what's going on. Without official words from either camp, it's hard to know. It is hard to not see the ratings decline. I know a lot of you will say, well, there's a lot of factors playing into it. One, we are sick of watching these girls who are now women, who are no longer teen mom, who are rich, entitled. Another camp of you will say, we stopped watching because of what happened with Nugget. Regardless if she comes back or not, we are not going to watch. Another camp of you are like, we're not going to watch because of how they handled everything related to Amber and how they're continuing to allow her to have a platform, and we're just fed up with what MTV puts on the air and doesn't take a stand on. All valid reasons, and I think probably all contributing, but it is interesting that the ratings plummet really did coincide most significantly with her not being on the show this season, and Jade Klein was the replacement, and she was supposed to be bringing the drama, and yet people aren't really tuning in and not all that interested, despite the fact that Jade is having all kinds of drama with her family, with arrests from her parents, with drugs, with her ex-boyfriend, possible evictions, lots of stuff, and yet people are not interested. For me, I don't know. I don't know if I would even watch it, to be honest. I'm not sure. I haven't watched most of Teen Mom 2 this season, and I don't know that I'll ever watch Teen Mom OG again. It's all up in the air at this point. But I don't know that a return of Jenelle would actually give a rating spike. It may get a short spike if people are truly interested in what's going on with the divorce, but I don't know overall how well that would do, given the fact that people are just so fed up and tired of how MTV has handled the abuse of children and spouses and drugs and everything. And then MTV will probably argue, we're not the moral police. We're putting out what these people are doing in their lives. We don't have to take a stand because we're just documenting their lives and it doesn't matter. It's a business, y'all. Now that was just my assumption of how they would react, because that's typically how these companies do react, because there's no morality clauses in the cast's contracts. Then today, David Eason has been extremely busy on his on his Facebook, talking all about Jenelle. And earlier today, he wrote, "Glad you people think I'm taking this so hard. Just so you all know, I am very much happier, and so is Marissa. We are finally peaceful." When someone asked them, if it didn't bother you at all, you wouldn't be human. Y'all have a relationship and a family. It seemed toxic, but I wasn't there, so I can't say here or there. But all that matters is that the kids are happy and safe. And he said, "It bothered me, Amber, but I'm not heartbroken. I've realized I wasn't in love, and there are much better people out there for me." Interesting. And then when another person brought up the fact that the restraining order includes him locking Kaiser in a car, he said, "Nathan is the one who locked Kaiser in the car. WTF." Well, he spent a lot of time blaming Nathan. Nathan's the one that abused Jenelle. Nathan's the one that locked Kaiser in the car, even though I don't think Nathan was even there that day. And Nathan is the reason for all the problems in their relationship. It's always about Nathan. Apparently, one of the final straws in their relationship, according to Puppy Dog, was that Jenelle would not publicly smear Nathan. So maybe this is him publicly smearing Nathan without the help of Jenelle. It's hard to know. But because there was no police reports or arrests for Jenelle during her time with David, some of these claims by David are pretty hard to believe. She seemed to have cleaned up a little bit in the last few years, has not been having quite as many issues with the law outside of David obviously harming Nugget, although David on Facebook has been implying that maybe Jenelle did that to the dog. I don't know about that either. And when I reached out to Jenelle about the restraining order, and I asked her about the stuff related to Kaiser, she did say that everything with the restraining order is documented. There are photos and videos for almost all of her claims that are there and were provided to the court. So David and Jenelle will be in court on the 25th, where he will have to answer to her allegations or her claims in the restraining order. And he is the one that has to, if the burden of proof falls on him to show that he is not guilty of these things and that there is no reason for them to have this. It's not for him to go in there and blame her. He has to discredit provide proof that these things didn't happen. And we'll see what he can do there. A lot of times these orders are upheld, but I have a feeling that David will not go down without a fight. And beyond that, he is going against the restraining order by talking about her. Let's not lie. He's not supposed to be talking about her on social media. He's not supposed to be discussing anything related to her or her children or the children, and he's doing that. When I reached out to Jenelle about that, she also told me that she is aware that he's doing this and she's doing her best to try to ignore it and just be focused on where they are at this point in life. It's unknown whether or not that kind of stuff will be brought up in court, but it's clear that they know that David is saying these things online, so we'll have to see if they report any of that to the court when they have their court date on the 25th. But he is definitely violating the restraining order because he's not supposed to talk about her online, which Jenelle confirmed to me. So that's where we're at right now. We'll do our best to keep you abreast of everything moving forward. And just want to thank a lot of you for keeping me in the loop on different things that you're seeing, of statements he's making or things that he's following. He should not be following her. He should not be following Ensley. He should be not commenting on her stuff. So good job there keeping her safe. She continues to remain in Tennessee. He is in North Carolina. Hopefully the divorce will be able to move forward in Tennessee so that she doesn't have to wait the year. And it does appear that this is very much over for the two of them. So a reconciliation at this point does not appear to be in the future. All right, you guys, I will be back later. We have the new episode of Welcome to Plathville that is actually on TLC Go if you haven't watched it yet. It was up this morning and we have so much to talk about with episode 3. I'll be back in a little bit. Bye, guys.